Jai Hind viewers, it's my honor today to host Rajneesh Das on Achievers Articulate on the Global Strategic and Defense News to discuss success as a non-resident Indian. Rajneesh has a great background. He's been the top of the science stream in the school that we both studied, that is the Army Public School, Dhaula Kuan, New Delhi. Thereafter, he cracked the prestigious IIT exam, which is a dream for many of us Indians. And he started his career with Tata Steel in India. Thereafter, he worked for 13 years in Canada and USA. And then he started his own business, apart from working in many, famous companies. First of all, Rajneesh, welcome to Achievers Articulate.
Thank you, Jacinda, for having me.
Rajneesh, my first question to you is that please describe your journey from being the school topper in the science stream to cracking the prestigious IIT exam to now becoming a successful NRI settled in the USA.
Sure. Jacinda, what I was thinking is I'll probably drop on this little bit about the lessons I've learned and the philosophies rather than giving you guys my bio data, so to say, or resume. So after studying together with you, obviously we had great time together in the Army Public School. I started to go after engineering. My dad wanted me to be both doctor and engineer. You know how our parents want us to do everything. So I was in the bio plus physics plus all that stuff. So I didn't do the bio exam because I couldn't do both, right? It's kind of too much. Then I did go to University of Roorkee at that time, which obviously became an IIT later, which we were not too happy about, by the way, because we felt more pride in being a Roorkeeite. But in any case, from there, an interesting story is I got selected in campus. I was a civil engineer by training. I got selected in campus by Tata Steel, but in the final interview, there was a group discussion by Rusi Modi. He used to be the chairman and MD at that time. There were 20 of us from different IITs trying for that civil graduate trainee role. And guess what? How he selected us. He asked us how many of us believed in love marriage. And half of us raised our hands. And this guy is, okay, you guys are selected. I was in the ones that had not raised our hand. And once these guys who were selected were, escorted out of the room. For the others, he said, would you like to join our IT department in technology? I'm like, wow, why not? I, a civil engineer, toiling in the sun, building roads and bridges and dams, why don't I go into an air-conditioned room and work on a computer? So that's how I joined Tata Steel. The point there is so much that luck plays in where you land up, right? Otherwise, I would probably be doing some work with the government of India, building railways or bridges or roads. I did go through get past the engineering entrance exam, by the way, but I was colorblind, so couldn't go in. But so luck plays a big part of where we land. Then after that, I thought, in IT, I should be with an IT company. What am I doing in a steel company? Because in a steel company, IT will just be a side department. So I joined a company called Satyam Computers. Had a good 13 years with them. Went to Canada, went to US, was settled in US. But then there was some issue with Satyam. It's pretty famous incident at that time. Where there were some financial irregularities. So I, along with my team, we moved en masse. I did negotiate some contracts with another company so that they could take over all 550 employees that used to work for me. So that lesson there was, at every disaster is an opportunity. Because it was a disaster, we didn't know what would happen to all these employees who were working in my team in India and US. But we were able to turn it around, and they got placed and had a good career after that. So that was another, I would say, a good learning for me that don't despair when there is a problem. So after that, I did go around a bit. Again, in IT, I worked for Hewlett Packard, that was top 10 company in the world in terms of size. I got some experience with large companies. Company called Capgemini, I worked there for a bit. Infosys was a good tenure too, a couple of years there. Then my thinking was that why not experience the other side? Now, all these technology companies serve customers. I wanted to be a customer. So I joined another company called Mass Mutual. It's a fairly large financial services company. It's a Fortune 75 in the US. I joined them as a vice president, running their IT for corporate portfolio. So now I was a buyer, but obviously uh, nobody does not have a customer. So I have my own customers to serve. It's like an endless chain of suppliers and customers. But that was a good couple of years of understanding how the corporate America works more on the industry side. So it was insurance and financial services, where I spent 2 years. Then Jesse, then I took another break. Uh, I did want to create a business of my own for my family. My son is special needs, all the highly functioning. So we did want to create something for him. And the second thing I saw that as you start to cross 40, 45, then there is, although it's not official, but there are a lot of talented young people who could do your work, not as good as you, but at way cheaper rates. So that starts to become a little bit of a concern. So that risk I wanted to mitigate. Plus, we wanted to create something for my son. So I took a couple of years off and invested in starting a new ground up. It was a franchise though. So, I was an Indian in the US. So didn't know too much about the ways, although I had lived here many, many years, but still, you really don't fully integrate. So instead of creating something of my own, which is a very risky proposition, I bought a franchise and built it in the central Connecticut region. It's a cleaning company, but the whole idea was to apply process automation and excellence in execution, so that I could take it to a level where I didn't have to work anymore in the business. So in 2 years I did take it to a stage where it was where they didn't need me anymore. So then I joined back. I joined as a chief customer officer for a IT services major, medium-sized company. It's called V-Link. We work in India, US, Canada, Indonesia, things like that. But it's not like an Infosys. But certainly we are getting there. We are growing. So the last stage I would say in my journey is a couple of years ago. Since the business was stable, I wanted to take it to the next level, where the driving force behind this really is my son. So our thinking was that why don't we also offer jobs to people with special needs? If we can do it for my son, there are so many other people who could benefit from this. So there was a win-win there. One of our classmates, Aarti Khanna from our school, she was looking to move to US, and she is a PhD in special needs and physical therapy. She's highly educated. So I spoke with her, and she agreed to come join our company. So she came over. Now she's running the company for me, and she's also creating programs that could be used to offer, employment to special needs people in the community that we serve. So that's in short my story. Again, no risk, no reward. That was the learning I got when starting business. That if you don't take that risk, obviously there's no reward for that. So take risks while you can, and here I am. So finally, some cruise control now. Job is stable and easy, and the business is running, and here I am talking to you.
Well, Rajneesh, that's really very interesting and indeed very inspirational. So, Rajneesh, tell me that while you were working your way up in the US, what difficulties did you encounter there?
Well, not much really, Jacinder. Uh, see, there are difficulties everywhere, right? But a lot of people have seen will allude it to some kind of discrimination. My color is not right. My I'm an immigrant, or I'm a woman, and this and that. But at the end of the day, you've got to overcome them and move on. So that's what my approach was. So I really didn't see much problem as such. Obviously, hard work and luck, good combination of that takes you to places. Not that I'm very highly placed or a CEO of a company, but whatever little I have done, it is just by hard work, being smart, and networking. So not really, I know I really don't have a good answer for you as to what difficulties I faced. On the personal side, coming to the US earlier on was a bit difficult in terms of social life. You couldn't get good grocery stores, and he used to drive from Bloomington, Illinois, 150 miles every weekend to Chicago to pick up those VCR Hindi movie cassettes, like 10 a time. We used to buy it so that we can watch something. But every day it is becoming easier and easier for people from Indian communities to actually thrive in the US, and I'm sure all over the world. So there is magic in numbers. And as we are scaling up and as technology is allowing us to experience everything that is Indian here, and as all the network is growing, uh, I watched Pathan first day, first show, so not missing that too much, other than obviously family. They're a bit far away.
Well, that's really amazing. Rajneesh, you have been known in the circles, to be very helpful, and anybody who approaches you, you're always more than willing to help people. So, what makes you so helpful?
Well, you are very kind to say that. I've been very lucky in terms of getting help myself. A lot of people have helped me throughout my life, and it's just a matter of paying it forward. You should do the same to others who need it, and that's how the chain continues, I guess. The only thing I would say is helping people blindly is probably not the best thing to do. There should be an alignment of purpose, and that's when help becomes more meaningful in the long term. But yeah, it's a win-win. If I'm helping anybody, they're helping me too. So yeah, it's a win-win. That's how I see it.
Well, I totally agree with you, Rajneesh. The baton of goodness should always be passed on, and this is what makes the world,
Yes,
ticking. Rajneesh, my last
that's
question to you is that what advice would you give to the young people who are planning to settle in foreign countries?
so few of them, right? So if you are coming to foreign country, you are not going to get golgappas. The street food golgappa that you get where the guy puts his hand in and takes out. It's not very healthy, but it's very tasty. So those things will miss. So the key things that part of what makes India India, the closeness of people, the food, the culture. So a lot of that will be missing. So be prepared. But like I said before, every day is becoming easier. So that shouldn't be that much of a problem. Um, the, just be objective that what you are leaving behind. And I see a lot of people coming from India going abroad. I can only talk about Canada and US, although there are so many countries out there. Is that in the initial few years, everybody has a bent of mind that I am here only for 2 years. I'm going to go back. And then your family and your children, they start to get integrated more here. They have their friend circle and such. So not many people actually go back, but they keep comparing. They keep comparing. Oh, it was like that here. It is like this here. It's an endless debate that keeps happening in parties. I would say if you are coming here, these are not unknown facts. Have clarity in thought of why you are coming here to the US or any other country, rather than just come here blind. That's what I think.
Well, Rajneesh, it was really amazing listening to your views, and my salute to you for the great work that you're doing. And once
Thank you.
again, thank you so much for coming on Global Strategy and Defense News.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. I loved it. Thank you.